What's going on, motivators? We got another video. We got to talk about Director of FBI Kash Patel talking about those scientists who went missing and the fake news media. Let's get into this.
A rattling call to pay attention to this issue and make sure that our nation's top scientists are safe and secure. This is too coincidental, and so we have to be investigating this. We need to have our nation's top investigators, the FBI, and every agency looking into this matter.
Welcome back. That was House Oversight Committee member and Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson this week calling a string of 11 missing and dead scientists too coincidental and a matter of urgent national importance. He is calling for an investigation as the FBI works with the White House and other intelligence agencies to probe whether the fate of these scientists is linked to their access to classified information about aerospace, defense, and even UFOs, and may involve bad actors from a foreign adversary such as China, Russia, or Iran. Joining me now is the...
That's kind of strange that classified information and our own FBI don't know what's going on with that. Something strange is going on with our level of classification and who owns what and what is what. It's so misplaced into who's responsible anymore. There's too many classifications. I know you have your secret, top secret, but even that may not get you in certain places, which could be confidential. So let's get into this.
Jurisdiction on each of these cases, whether they be a homicide or a missing persons case, they have the evidence. So what we're going to do is collectively pull it all into one place. We started this process last week, and then we're going to look for connections, like you said, on whether there are connections to classified access to classified information and or foreign actors, and then we will produce that information to the White House and the world because it's...
this has been going on for like 2 weeks now. That's pretty strange that they don't have any information. They're supposed to be the FBI now. What's going on with that?
Of such great public importance. And if there's any connections that lead to nefarious conduct or conspiracy, this FBI will make the appropriate arrest.
You've been working on an investigation of China for many years. I remember years ago you were looking at China's bad behavior and how it constantly undermines the United States. Do you have any evidence so far that this is also linked to a foreign adversary like China?
As of right now, there's not much we can say, but we don't have hard information directly linking any of this to overseas adversaries.
Okay, but you also recently told us that there was a major cyber attack. I mentioned it to the president just there. China did a cyber attack on the U.S. How significant is the undermining of America by China right now?
Well, just look at our intelligence community's assessment that came out last year, at the end of last year, which specifically stated that the most persistent and active cyber threat we face in the world is from China. That's the...
China, Iran was a big part of it too. Obviously, we got a war going on with them. They got too much on their plate. But China is pretty bad. China is pretty bad. And the thing that concerned me is that you got Republican and Democrats. They're not coming together. We need to come together to protect United States. Yeah, we can have the inner bickering on both sides, whatever. That's all good. But when it comes to like threat outside the United States, everybody need to corral against, protecting the United States, the country.
Entirety of the 17 organizations stood up to protect this nation, made that determination. So the FBI packages its program in response around that. And what China does is three things. They use the People's Liberation Army, the PLA, the MSS, the Ministry of State Security, their spy service, and their private sector to engage in a basically triad of cyber offensive warfare and attacks. And what did the FBI do in response? Last year alone, we focused specifically on actors such as Salt Typhoon and Vault Typhoon. What do? They go out there and they...
We got to remember, too, China is always playing the slow game. Always playing the slow game. That is why I'm always worried about people who come to the United States who are of that descent, because they're playing a slow game and to try to eat you from the inside out. So you got to stay vigilant out there. I'm not saying hate anyone, but they are planting stuff into the idea of slowly trying to take over the United States.
Do large-scale espionage, and the private sector communities have been reaching out in large scale because they saw what we did with the banks, and they saw what we did with places like Stryker and elsewhere.
All right, I want to move on, but real quick, I just spoke with the president about this letter that Xi Jinping wrote back to President Trump, and he said he wasn't supplying weapons to Iran. There are reports all over the place that they were, in fact. Should we be alarmed also by the extent to which China has penetrated our academic institutions? They're coming at us at every angle.
You know, they are, and look at what we did. I can just speak to what the FBI did. We, the FBI last year, specifically arrested multiple individuals at the University of Michigan for bringing in illegal pathogens and try to steal our seed agricultural information. We've also conducted arrests in the Midwest on these Chinese who are implementing these adversarial actions against our academic institutions. It's a whole government approach with the private sector.
Like I said, they're trying to eat the United States from the inside out. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I mean, my time in the military, when we were doing war gaming, is the same idea and perspective. It's like the biggest way to infiltrate a program or any kind of unit is from the inside out. Having someone from the inside giving you secrets, right? Hence what happened to Iran. But the idea of what China is doing, they are a slow run, slow pace country into the idea of they just play their thing on time. Slowly but surely, with migration, bringing people in, they have people, double agents in the United States who are trying to steal secrets. At least the plan is to have China have the upper hand.
Okay, let me move on because there is this scathing article about you in the Atlantic magazine. The Atlantic magazine director is alleging that you have a drinking problem, that it is getting in the way of your work running the FBI. What is your response this morning to this?
I mean, they said the same thing about Pete Hegseth, right? I mean, yeah, everybody drinks, but like when it comes to the job, if you can't perform your duties on the job and you're being lackadaisical or you're being a drunk, I get that. But you come into your workplace every day accordingly. You're not drunk. You're sober. Like this right here is just fake news.
If the fake news mafia isn't hitting you personally with baseless information in Washington, D.C., then you're not doing your job. And it's louder than ever because this FBI, under President Trump's brilliant leadership and backing the blue and backing law enforcement, this FBI has the most prolific year in crime reduction in United States history. A 20% reduction in the...
But I could see something right now if people are not viewing it the same way. Democrats are very sneaky. I mean, Republicans sometimes too, but Democrats are very, very sneaky. They're going to try their darnest to start egging on. You're going to try to take them off one by one. They had Kristi Noem. They had Pam Bondi. They're never satisfied. They want whomever you put in the administration to get terminated because they want it to be dysfunctional. It's not that they care about Kash Patel per se. They don't really care about him. It's the removal. If they could remove him and things have to start back up from 0 to whatever, 20, and whomever gets in removing again, that's what they want for. They just want chaos in the administration.
20-point drop in opioid overdose deaths. We have found and identified 6,300 child victims. 6,300 kids get to go home to their kids. That's a 30% increase.
You know that they're doing a good job on fentanyl, that it cannot come to the United States, or there's a decrease in it, that you have the drug personnel that's trying to use a new kind of drug. They're using that horse tranquilizer, right? Tranquilizers for horses to add to the different drugs that they have. So now it doesn't really give people a high, it just passes them out.
And so, you know what? They can beat their drums and stand next to toxic waste all they want, but that doesn't make it toxic waste. And Maria, I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
So you're going to sue them?
Absolutely. It's coming.
Oh, wow. Wow. He about to sue the media. I mean, we know CNN is the worst of them, but MS Now is a joke. I don't know why they're still on. Their ratings is pretty low. I really don't get it. But it's good that they're going after Trump. Pretty much paved the way. Now Kash Patel is doing the same thing.
Yes, I will. For defamation. And because you know what, Maria? We have to fight back against the fake news. It's one of the many things that President Trump is so successful at in leading out on, because no one is attacked as baselessly as he is and as much as he is. And our leaders that get attacked under his brilliant leadership must do the same. And I won't tolerate their attacks on me, because they are indirect attacks on the men and women of the FBI that we've cleaned up. And this historic, prolific...
Like I say, it's about time. It's about time The Atlantic, they've been publishing for the longest a whole bunch of fake news. I don't care if it's under Biden, if it's under Trump, they're all scandalous. It's all about how they could hide stuff. But at the same time, it's like, by doing all of those things, who is it for? Is it for the people or is it for themselves? You are hiding stuff from the American people. At the end of the day, you're not for the American people anymore. But anyway, let me know what you think inside the comments. All right, motivators, if you enjoy what you've seen and heard, please like, comment, share. But most importantly, subscribe to A Black Veteran's Perspective. Stay motivated.